The Unova League is what I consider to be the worst league in Pokemon anime. Like, it's not even close, if we want to be honest here. And I know. When someone makes a video and they come right out of the gate and just say, this I agree with, this I don't, and, whatever. Sometimes people get rubbed the wrong way. I mean, some people may not like it. Some people may not like the fact that I just fucking said that. Well, it's a thing called an opinion. Now, of course, I'm not trying to. If people disagree, people disagree. So we're not gonna go into the whole idea that I'm this superior person with the superior opinion and everyone must bow down to me. Like, no, we're not gonna do that. Um, but what I am gonna do, however, is that I'm going to explain why I feel like the Unova League is the worst, at least in my opinion. And again, I know some folks would probably disagree and would argue that either Kanto, Johto, or even Alola are worse of leagues than Unova. Although I would heavily disagree with Alola. And Johto was okay. And Kanto, it's funny that we're talking about Kanto here, is because literally Unova was supposed to be like a Generation 5, a modern Gen 1. Like, it's just funny if you look at it. And also, if you look at both leagues, they're kind of similar. But we'll talk about that later. But again, I would argue that Unova is the worst, not because it didn't follow up on how great the Sinnoh League was. And no, I'm not saying that because of the whole, you know, Ash versus Paul. I legitimately thought, outside of that, the Sinnoh League was a good league. I thought the episodes were entertaining. They kept me in my seat. And it was definitely interesting to see, not only just Ash, but, Paul versus Barry, which I thought was a pretty good battle. And then just seeing the others duke it out. I thought it was a pretty good league overall, other than just the one battle that everyone and their mom knows it by. So it's pretty good on its own. It's pretty good on its own merits. But because on its own proportions, and by proportions I mean the proportions on what makes a league good in an opinion sense, compared to the proportions of what makes it bad, I just feel like that the Unova League just failed on how they handled Ash in this one. And what I meant by that is, or one of the first things actually, is that having his first match already against his main rival Trip and a random filler episode in the middle of the league, which I think is a literal disgrace of how you fucking should set up a league arc that literally didn't need to be there. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy RFRD97. I know the intro was kind of late, but let me go on ahead and explain to you from the beginning of why I think the entire league, yes, the Unova League, is fucking dog shit. Now, before we do that, let's give a quick rundown on Best Wishes the series, because normally when you talk about the Pokemon League, you usually want to give some sort of summary for the series itself, like the region in itself. So, without going to a big in-depth analytic look of Unova as an anime, we're just gonna give it like a quick summary, to the best of our knowledge. I mean, to the best of my ability, within like 2 sentences. But no, basically the Unova League anime, the Best Wishes series. There we go. Best Wishes started out pretty interesting. I still think it had one of the best starts of any region in the anime, and then it was actually pretty good. It just got to the point around Best Wishes season 2. I think after the Metaletta arc was where we kind of hit a stale. And when I meant by stale, I mean not necessarily a stale, but just like, I think it was after the Metaletta arc was where Best Wishes just became not garbage, but it just became not. I don't know. I don't know what word to say. I mean, it was still somewhat entertaining, but it just wasn't really that great. Like, I would give it like if you want an honest rating of what I think should be a good rating for of Best Wishes after the Metaletta arc that happens literally at the beginning of the season. It's probably like a 5 or 6. Maybe the lowest I could give it is a 4, which is still not that bad, all things considered. But with that being said, so best wishes. Ash, goes to Unova, brand new region, brand new league. He collects the agent badges. He meets Iris and Cylon, and obviously Team Rocket is in the series too. But the thing that's different about Team Rocket is that they're a bit more serious. They're handling like other evil missions now, other than just goofing off. There's the stuff with the Meteor Knight arc, which we will never be able to see, unfortunately, like the conclusion of that. But other than that, they still had some pretty good evil arcs. Like, for example, they had the Nimbasa City arc, which I thought was really good. Um, the the arc with Landers, Tornadus, Thunderous, I thought it was a really solid one as well. And of course, there were some few other ones that they did in some episodes I thought were pretty engageful. So that was basically Unova, and of course, the cameo appearances by Cynthia and Dawn, which I thought were pretty nice for the Sinnoh fans to be able to enjoy. So it was pretty okay at that point. Like the Unova was off to a pretty good start, and I think once it got to Best Wishes season 2, I think that's where it kind of lost some of the momentum a little bit. Now, not in a way that's bad, of course, until this week happened. So I know that wasn't really a quick summary, but I did try my best. So it is what it is. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's actually go right into why I think the entire league is dog shit. At least in my opinion, of course. And of course, if people in the comment section already say, "Well, you say the league is dog shit, do you not know good taste and whatever?" It's like, come on, guys. I'm not saying that my opinion is the greatest. I'm not saying it's something you should follow. I'm just giving you my opinion from the way I'm looking at it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But hey, opinions are opinions. So, anyways, let's get to it, shall we? First of all, the Unova League started out with Best Wishes episode 103, which you will find that listing in the Bulbapedia website. And right off the bat, having him face his main rival Trip for the first battle, is a righty decision I heavily disagree with. And the reason why I disagree with it is because I feel like it's a lazy send off. Because yes, I know Trip wasn't really a great rival, at least in comparison to Paul, and even on his own merits. But I feel like you should do him better justice than this. There should be better justice. Hell, I'll give you something controversial, or not really controversial, but something that I don't think that much people would consider. Hell, even Kenyon, yes, Kenyon, or Stefan, if you want to call him that in the English dub, even I think that he had a better send-off than Trip. And that's saying a whole lot, too. Which, people would regard Kenyon to be the better rival, but, it's not necessarily the main one. But, with that being said, it's a right decision I just heavily disagree with because I feel like they should send him off a bit more better than that. And first of all, a one-on-one battle is just I don't know. I just don't really agree with that. I feel like if you're gonna have a rival battle with your main rival, that should be like at least the second or third battle. Why the first one? Why can't Ash just face a fucking filler character, get that over with, and then get to Trip? Because at least then what you're doing with that is that you're building up momentum for that battle. Now, of course, some people may be like, again, say, oh, Trip's dog shit rival and all that stuff. But that doesn't matter. Dog shit rival or not, you're building momentum for that battle. You're basically building up something from the very first episode where these two literally met and started a rivalry from there. That's what you're building up to finish. But, what do I know? But no, yeah, like I said, even though I have my reservations about Trip as a character and being a rival prospect to Ash, having him go out in the first episode of the League arc is a legitimate disgrace, and having it as a 1v1, as I've already stated, is something I do not agree with whatsoever. I think a 3v3 would have been a lot better for a qualifying round. I mean, yes, I know I said I was advocating for a 6-on-6, but I think a 3v3 would have been a nice compensation in the middle, because I just think it would have been a lot better if it's just a 1v1. And again, I know I have I didn't really mention this yet, but Ash's team in this region is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting in the sense that what would have happened if his team was decently involved outside of with Vanny, who I think is already fully evolved. You already have Crocodile, which, by the way, Crocodile is a fucking badass. I love that fucking Pokemon, and the fact that Ash was able to have that Pokemon on his team is what is actually amazing. Like the fact that the writers were actually that graceful enough to even give him that Pokemon after the shit that they put him through for the mindset, his mindset in Unova, and just his team building overall. That's pretty gracious in my opinion. Um, but no, I think if Oshawott was evolved, maybe to at least a Duat, a Snivy, to like at least a Servine, and then maybe you can compensate having Pig Knight evolve into an Emboar. I think his team and his chances in the Unova League would have been a lot better. But that's for the fan fictions to figure that out and see how that goes. Um, But no, yeah. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the first battle of Ash versus Trip, because that's the one that we have to talk about if we're gonna talk about the entire league. Um, the battle between the both of them turned out somehow how I expected it between when it comes to Pikachu and Superior, and there was really nothing special out of it. At least in my opinion, there wasn't. I mean, it was just like a regular rival battle. Ash does this, Trip does that, and one of them gets like a upper hand advantage for like a second if the other one capitalizes on that mistake, or not necessarily mistake, but more so of like the chance to capitalize on that opportunity. So it's just, I mean, that's just part of it. So there's really nothing special there, and I just find it. I don't know. I just can't get over it. I sorry guys. I just cannot get over this. I just find it a legitimate disgrace that this is how they sent off his character. And what I mean by his character, I mean Trip. Because again, I think either a good 3v3, or assuming that there was going to be a 3v3, a 3v3 or a full 6v6, which both of them, at least to my knowledge, had enough Pokemon to do that, unless somehow Trip didn't. But I mean, look at it this way: if the writers can fucking somehow make up an entire team for Alon for the last battle of the Kalos League, there's no legitimate reason as to why they can't simply do that for Trip. But what do I know? But with that being said, I think a 3v3 or a full 6v6 in the later round of the league would have done more justice to his character, and at least sending him off with more better regard, more better regard of his character. And look, again, I understand if people don't like Trip, him as a rival to Ash was kind of but if the fact that they can simply do better justice to farewell, to say goodbye to characters of Ash's friends, better justice, his other friends, then I don't see why they can't do that with Trip. I just don't. And again, the argument that Trip's a shitty rival and whatever, that doesn't, I don't buy that. When I mean I don't buy that, I'm not saying that he isn't a bad rival. But what I am trying to say is that it doesn't matter how bad of a character he is and whatever. We've seen worse characters in Pokemon get better send-offs than Trip. Like it's just an actual disgrace of the fact that Trip just pretty much gets sent off in the first battle of the league. Like, how stupid is that? But now let's get to the part I actually hate the most about this league, which, in case you've already seen the entire league and pretty much know it by heart, and shout out to my boy, or shout out to my friend Lumio's trainer Zach for agreeing with me on the same topic, which, by the way, you can watch this video down in the description down below. Can anyone tell me what the point was with Best Wishes 105? Can someone tell me? No one? Okay. But no, in all seriousness, for those of you that don't know, Best Wishes 105 is basically a random filler episode that had nothing to do with the league, nothing to do with the battles. Well, it happened in between the league, so I guess technically it did have something to do with the league. But in the sense of significance, it had nothing to do with it. Nothing. And basically the episode was just about Axe getting lost. Like, seriously? It was randomly shoehorned in the middle of the league. And you know what it contributed in the 22 minutes of an average episode? It contributed nothing. Like, nothing at all. Like, there's nothing about the episode that was redeemful. There was just nothing. Like, I wasted 22 minutes of my fucking life watching this fucking episode, and I just I just can't believe it. Like, I think I had better chances, or I had better fun just watching paint dry on my wall. Like, it was just, that's just how bad this episode was. There was just nothing meaningful. At least the ones in X, Y, and Sun the Moon, where they did randomly shoehorn an episode in the middle of the week like that. At least those weeks did it better. Where, again, they put episodes in the middle of the week, but they actually make it meaningful. They actually make sense. Here, however, they Best Wishes honestly failed utterly with this one. Like, they thought taking the full 7 minutes for a Pokemon episode, mind you, was the way to go. But not when you make it to a not really entertaining for a filler. And on top of that, it was just boring as fuck to sit through. I'm sorry. But if anyone, says that this episode was good, then, that's your opinion. But to me, I just thought that my time was wasted watching this fucking shit. But again, I had to watch it because, if you're going to talk about the entire Unova League, you have to at least, understand the episodes that happened within. Like, I don't know, man. I think it was just a waste of time, and I don't think a single human being can really convince me otherwise. But, again, there's always healthy debates to go through, so it is what it is. And of course, you have the episode after that, which is Best Wishes 106, which was actually, in my opinion, the best battle of this week, which is Ash versus Stefan. And when I look at Ash versus Stefan, it pretty much gave me hope that there was probably going to be another good battle in this league. Either if it would have featured Ash or not featured Ash, but it still would have been good. So it was exactly the type of quality I hope to see, like I said, from this league. But we can't have everything we want in life now, can we? So this also, speaking of Ash's Crocodile, it's a funny thing that I mentioned that earlier, is that this battle reminded me of how much I love this fucking thing. That thing, his Crocodile is no Infernape, but this thing kicks so much fucking ass, and it's a prime example of why I think if certain members of his team were involved, they also probably could have been utilized better than they were. And not only that, I think his chances of maybe winning the whole fucking thing probably would have went up. Well, actually, probably not winning the whole thing, but at the very least go to the finals. But again, like I said earlier, we can't have everything we want in life now, can we? But basically, to sum up my thoughts about the episode, because as much as I raved on about the battle, or technically not much of the battle, all I really said was that it was the type of quality I expect to see from a league battle, at least from Best Wishes standards. But basically, to sum up my thoughts about the episode, and other than the fact that I fanboyed about Crocodile for a minute, I thought this battle was the best of the Unova League because of how well the battle was conducted, and of course, the typical useful strategies we see Ash use. And I'm not just talking about the ones that you would commonly see. I'm talking about the ones where he just randomly fucking pulls one out of his ass and just wins the battle. Honestly, if you do that and you actually set up the battle to be pretty good, that makes sense for that type of thing to happen, then you can already consider this battle to be pretty fucking good. Look, it's not the greatest of the entire league history, of course. But if we're going to be fair to the Unova League, Ash versus Stefan was actually a decent battle. That if people are going to watch the Unova League, they might as well just go on ahead and just think that this is the best that they're going to see, especially of what comes next. Oh God, what comes next? Ugh. Even I'm not looking forward to this. Now, of course, the infamous battle that people are waiting for, Ash versus Cameron. I just don't know about this one battle. I just don't know about this battle, guys. Like, I will admit the start of it wasn't that bad. That's the only thing I will admit. That's the only thing I will ever admit. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy that the start of this battle was actually decent. Like, it was something I could get down with. Now, of course, there was a moment where, they had like a little exchange and stuff, and it wasn't really that bad, but I think it was kind of like meme worthy and stuff, especially when Cameron even taunted Ash. Like, I thought that was pretty stupid, but whatever. But no, yeah, like I said, the start of it wasn't that bad, but the rest of the entire battle is something I did not enjoy whatsoever. And now, before I get into that a little bit, let me put it to you this way: if you're someone that's a visual appeaser, meaning like if you really love the visuals of the battle, if you like the way the Pokemon look, the way the league looks, and all that stuff, you would like this battle. But if you're someone that looks at it from a battle analytical / logical point of view, it's fucking terrible. This is fucking terrible. Like, if you're looking at it, like I said, from an analytical point, and you're trying to figure out, oh, geez, I wonder how good this battle is. Let's look at the teams, the type matchups, and all that stuff, and let's see, you know, which trainer has the proper advantage. You would see that this battle is a legitimate disgrace for the whole entire rest of it. I know I said something to the effect that the start was pretty decent, but the rest of it does not hold up to it. It absolutely does not. There is no way you can tell me that is the case. Like, first of all, having Riolu evolve in the circumstances that it did was a massive cockblock to Ash. Because let's think about this for a moment. At that point where Riolu evolved, because I think Cameron, that was his last Pokemon, I think. Right? Hold on. What's actually... no, I'll probably make like an editor's note or put like an image that basically shows, I was right or wrong or whatever. But as of this recording, barring any edits, I'm pretty sure Riolu was his last Pokemon. And to have that... to then have him evolve was actually a disgrace. Like, I don't know how anyone could tell me that it wasn't a cockblock to Ash, because if you look at the way the battle was at that point, it was pretty much a momentum's given. Like, Ash was already piling through and here and there, and just like, it's just absolutely crazy. Because let's take a look. Let's take a look here. So he had Hydreigon. He had Samurott. He had Samurott. Okay, so he had the Hydreigon. We saw that. Obviously, of course, we now saw the fucking Lucario, because it had to happen. And obviously, the reason why I didn't mention Ferrothorn is because fucking Ash's Pignite pretty much just took it out of the fucking water. So, it is what it is. But no, yeah, basically, Hydreigon, Samurott, Ferrothorn, and then Riolu, which been evolved into a Lucario. Which, wow. I don't know. I still can't go over it. And also, the thing about this battle is that it shows, again, and I say again, it shows a prime example if Ash's team, at least in my opinion at least, was a bit more evolved. And the ones I'm talking about, which I mentioned earlier, was Snivy, Oshawott, Scraggy, and Boldore to his final evolution, or to their final evolutions specifically. Then I think his chances would have been a lot better. Now, of course, there's some people that say, oh, well, his team evolving would have not made a difference. Well, obviously that's an opinion, and, if people think that, then, that's okay, because that's their opinion, that's the way they think. But at least in my opinion, the way I look at it, I think his chances would have been better. Now, how much better? I did predict that he would probably at least go to the finals, or at least to the semis, like the one after Ash's battle against Cameron. At least that far. Because that would have been better. But, whatever. Like I said before, we can't have everything that we want in life. So let's actually look at it this way, folks. Let's actually point out a few community responses. So let's go on ahead and talk about it. So I was going to save this until the end, but I figured I might as well just bring it up now. But basically, we're going to be bringing up two responses, because the third one I actually forgot to get. So I'll do like a separate. I'll probably do something separate for that. I'm not sure. But basically, the first one I'm going to be bringing up is Kiziti Kato. I apologize if I mispronounced that. He said, and I quote, In general, the arc isn't terrible, it's structured well, and has the same appeal as the many other tournament arcs in Best Wishes. Unfortunately, it lacks the satisfying payoff that were kind of needed. Yes, this league did not have the satisfying payoff whatsoever, and it wasn't even satisfying other than the Ash versus Stefan battle, and maybe you can argue Ash versus Trip. But Ash versus Cameron, to me, was not a good battle. I just, ugh. That battle was just a fucking disgrace. But anyways, to continue on his opinion, Ash vs. Trip is a great microcosm, a battle that has been built up since episode 1, which I mentioned earlier, and given weight considering the dynamics of the two trainers in question, all for just an okay final bout, which, as he says, not bad by any means, but it feels like it should have been far more than it was. See, this is what I'm talking about. If they didn't fucking send off Trip the way that they did in this fucking battle, and they at least should have at least waited until either the second or third battle of this fucking league to then do a proper 3v3 or full on 6v6, I can guarantee you that his character would have had a better send off than this shit. But of course, no one's ever gonna believe that. And of course, he talks about that, and I quote, "That's the Unova League as a whole. Taken in isolation, it's far from a bad arc, and had this been another regular tournament, it would have been fine. But as the finale to the gym battle quest, it just doesn't work. Even with good standouts like Ash vs. Stefan, which, again, I agree, Ash vs. Stefan. Out of all the battles in the Unova League, Ash vs. Stefan was actually a good battle. Or Stefan, whatever. But that was the only good battle. Any other battle was either decent or trash. I mean, that's just the way it works." And to end off his community response, "It's honestly really telling that the tournament arc that preceded this, the Junior Cup, was far more enjoyable and satisfying." Oh, there's something I actually want to say about that, but I'll mention it later. So let's actually go through one more community response. And the way that we're going to do that is our good friend, and I say our good friend because I've known him for a while, our good friend, Mr. Isaiah Charged Up Gamer, which, by the way, if you want to go to, I think he has a YouTube channel, but if he does, I'll put that in the link description down below. Support him and his content, and just put some good stuff out there. I'm not going to go through like his entire thread because he talks about the entire episodes, but there are a few I will point out, though, but I'm not going to read like the entire tweet. He does agree that this episode, and by this episode I'm referring to the Axio episode, that he pretty much said that it was absolute garbage in every way possible. There's nothing wrong with Beak episodes, mind you, and Lost plots are fine considering X, Y, and Z, and Sun Moon had them during their leaves as well. But they never took a full 22 minutes. This was beyond bad. The pacing wasn't great to begin with, but this takes a whole new level. This is the worst produced League episode of all time. See? There's other people in the community that agree that the Axio episode was just fucking garbage. It was just garbage. I don't know how else to put it. Like, if other people are saying it, mind you, notable people, then what I'm saying is not practically correct in the sense of opinion, but at the very least, people, share the same opinion is what I meant to say. But overall, when it comes to his overall thoughts about the league, let's take a look at that, and then we'll end off the community responses for now. He says, and I quote, "Overall, the Unova League is pretty weak outside a few good battles and had some horrible decisions, if anything. This week dies have a lot of fun moments, and the characters bounce off of each other really well. Overall, this week it's a 5.3 out of 10. So 5.3 out of 10, I mean, I would give it somewhere around there. I think maybe a 5.0, or maybe at the lowest I'll give it is like a 3. But I don't know if I'll give it a 3. Maybe like a 4.5 or something. Maybe like a 5. I'm not sure. But anyways, those are the few community responses I have. Now let's get back to my main points. So once I, took the time to, research and stuff, because, you want to make sure you put something good out there for the folks. Now, back to what I was saying earlier about Ash's team. There are some people that think that, even if his team was better evolved, it wouldn't have changed his chances. Well, I guess that's true as well, because, you have to understand the writing and the structure and what they were going for. And, I know that Ash wasn't going to... Well, I'm not saying that he would have won the Unova League. But at the very least, that he should have been at least top 4. Like, Look at the Unova League. There is no reason for him not to be in the top four if his team was decently involved with the ones I mentioned that they should be involved. But whatever, I guess. But no, anyways, with that being said, the entire battle, Pikachu versus Lucario, I mean, there were some pretty good moments, I will say. Like, there were some moments where, I mean, obviously we've seen already in the slideshow that you guys have already seen, like, a good amount of times at this point. There are some good moments I liked about the battle. But, again, it comes down to the idea of visuals and battle analytics. If you're looking at it from a visual appealing standpoint, this battle is pretty good. Again, and also, if you're someone that looks at this battle from an analytical slash logical point of view, it's just terrible. It's terrible. And once again, no one at all will be able to convince me that, real evolving in the circumstances that it did was a cock block to Ash. You cannot tell me that, because I guarantee you, had Ryowu not evolved, I guarantee you that Ash would have won this battle easily. Even Snivy fucking still fainted from the Ryowu. He still would have won with like 2 Pokemon left, which I forgot the first one. But I know that Pikachu was last, so I think it was Bordor or something, but I'm not sure. But anyways, but oh yeah, Ash versus Cameron. Probably the worst league battle I've ever seen in my life. Now I know some people may be like, well, there's Ash versus Richie from Kanto. Well, the difference is that Ash's Charizard was just being a fucking dick. Like, it just did not want to obey him, and we went through that entire arc. Ash versus Cameron did not have any excuse to be this fucking bad. It did not have any excuse of being this fucking bad. Like, what the fuck was this battle? Like, this battle was just fucking dog shit, and it's just. It was just so bad. Like, how do you write this up and be okay with it? Like, I don't get it. But, hey, it is what it is. Okay, so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, so in case you haven't already thought of it already or have any sense of it, or you still want to ask me the question, which I don't mind. What do I think about the Unova League overall? Well, the Unova League had some of the worst decisions that I've ever seen made for a league anime arc within Pokemon. The battles, other than one in particular, which is pretty much Ash versus Stefan, they were pretty Yeah, like they were either pretty or they were just straight up boring garbage. Like, it was just how the league was. Like, one good battle and the others were either or just they're just thrown in the garbage. Just thrown in the fucking gutter. Characters basically were how I expected it to be, which, again, I agree with, Kato on his community response that the characters bounce off really well. But even if the characters really did bounce off well from one another, it still doesn't change the fact that the battles were just fucking horrendous, other than just one. That the battles were either horrendous or they were just not, like, they just were decent but not that great. That type of shit. So I will say this though, and I know some people kind of disagree. I actually like the fact that after Ash's last battle with Cameron, which again is a natural tragedy in the Pokemon League arcs, where he reflected on his Unova journey at that point and getting top 8 was actually one of the best moments in the Gen 5 anime. Because I always like to see Ash reflect on his journey and see the progression that he's made. While Unova has been up and down, it never hurts to actually, take a step back and reflect on the steps that you took to get to this point. Even if you did get fucking cock blocked by the writers. But, what can you do? And I know some people, again, disagree because, there's some people that think that, oh, this is just a massive ripoff of the Kanto League because, Ash did the same thing there and, it just was worse in Unova because of the circumstances. While, yes, I agree that the Unova League is complete dog shit, it still doesn't change the fact that, in my opinion, the fucking basically the final battle reflection or the aftermath where he reflects on his journey in Unova and stuff, that was still a good moment. I enjoyed the moment, and obviously when he runs back to his friends afterwards, and by friends I mean Iris and Silent, it just basically was a good moment, and I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, was it the greatest? No, but it was still pretty decent and something good to watch as far as his character is concerned within within that region. Um, and obviously, of course, I still believe to this day. Oh no! So by the way, that reflection moment was actually one of the best moments in the Gen 5 anime. In case I haven't already mentioned that, but with that being said, I still believe that they could have done Trip's character better justice than sending him out the way that they did. They completely fucked that up. And again, I don't care if he was a shitty rival. I don't care if he was good. I don't care if he was the greatest or he was just really bad. I don't care. The way that they sent him off was just absolutely terrible. It was absolutely terrible. How the fuck does Cameron? How does Cameron have a better send off than Trip? What the fuck? Like, what is this shit? Like, do you realize how much? Let's look at it this way. Trip had to settle for, well, not settle because that's assuming the character Trip as a character wanted that, but I'm referring to like the writing decision. But with that being said, Trip had to deal with a 1v1, while Cameron gets pretty much a decent battle, like a decent amount of Pokemon battle, like I was mentioning that they should at least give Trip. And not only does Cameron get a fucking evolution in the middle of his fucking battle, but that evolution pretty much propelled him to a win. And what does Trip get? He gets one battle and a send-off that is just an insult to his character. And again, I don't care if he was bad. I don't care if he was good. I don't care what he was. The fact of the matter is that his send-off was terrible. And they could have done it better fucking justice. And it's just an actual disgrace. But, whatever. It is what it is. But anyways, with that being said, overall, once more, the Unova League is the worst, in my opinion, based on how they handled majority of the battles, the pointless / boring action episode that served no purpose to be there whatsoever, and the insult and the massive insult of this entire thing was Rio's evolution that remains as one to this day in the entire series. And I say it's an insult, not in the sense of the entire league standard, but I'm saying as an insult to Ash's progression in the league, which, in my opinion, it should have not been top 8. It should have been at least top 4 or at least top 2. But no, of course not. That would mean making too much sense. Now, of course, they got to their senses, a game of top 2 in the next region, but that in itself was a pretty interesting set of proportions, if you ask me. So, we'll just leave it at that for another day. Oh yeah, here's the other thing I wanted to mention real quick. Before we finish out this video is I don't think this is a unpopular opinion or controversial by any means, because I think a lot of people can agree to this. But basically, my take is that after watching the Unova League, the Unova League, and watching all the other battle tournament arcs, the Don George Battle Club tournaments, why is it that the Don George battle tournaments were so much better structure, better battles, better character bounce-offs? Why is it that they had everything better about those fucking tournament arcs compared to the Unova League? Do you realize how fucking insulting that is? How is it that the Unova League, the final tournament for this entire fucking region that determines who the champion is, that's supposed to bring out the best in people, how is it that that tournament is somehow worse than the fucking Don George battle tournament clubs? Now, I'm not insulting Don George's tournament arcs. I thought those were good. But what I'm saying is that there is no reason for the Unova League to be that fucking bad. There is no reason for that league to be that fucking bad. Because you have the first Don George tournament arc, which is actually pretty good. Like, Ash versus Iris was actually a really good battle. And then you have Kenyon versus, what was the trainer's name? I think it was like a Phil character. I'm not sure. But basically, it was Sok versus Farah. That was a good battle. And all the other battles in it. I mean, there were some battles within the Don George battle tournament arcs that were kind of but they weren't as bad as the fucking Unova League battles. Like, oh my god. Like, it's just actually insulting to watch the Don George battle tournament arcs with, like, so much awe and so much, positives that they've done so well, to then go to the Unova League, which, again, it's supposed to be the final tournament. It's supposed to be the one that determines who the champion is out of all the trainers that competed to get to that point. How is it that the Unova League, and I know I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but how is it that the Unova League somehow is worse than those fucking tournament arcs? Those Don George Battle Club tournaments. Like, how does that happen? How? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'll say this too. I would rather at least at this point go back and watch the fucking the Cancel League episodes. Now, of course, the Cancel League episodes has their own faults and why it was either good or bad. But I would at least get more entertaining value out of that, and it makes sense for the way that it happened, because it was the first the first season in the first league. So some of the things are excused. But you're 5 generations in at this point. You literally are following up from the fucking Sinnoh League, which had one of the best battles of this entire fucking series. And this is the product that you came up with after the mini battle tournament arcs that you literally had to build up to that point. And this is what you give us? This is what you give us. I'm sorry. I mean, I could go on and rant forever, but I'll just say this. The bad in this league, like the cons, outweigh the good. And I feel bad because I really like Unova. I think Generation 5 as an anime, I really enjoy it. But I just cannot stand the Unova League. I just cannot stand it. This shit was not that good to watch. Now, of course, again, if there's people out there that disagree and think, oh, well, you're something Unova League too bad. Well, maybe I am. But it's just, I don't know. I just expected better. Is all I'm saying. And people disagree, that's fine. We can have a healthy debate about it if you would like in the comment section. Well, actually not that much of a debate, but basically if you disagree, and type your thoughts in the comment section of why you disagree, and as long as we keep it clean and healthy, and just make sure we're not stepping to unnecessary boundaries, then that's fine. But to me, I think the Unova League should have been a lot better than this. It should have been a lot better. And again, and this is the last time I'm going to say this, there is no reason for the Unova League to be this fucking bad. When literally the Don George battle tournament arcs were a lot better, and they were happening often. I think it was like 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure it was 2. But regardless, there is no reason for the Unova League to be that fucking bad. It should have been at least a 7 or an 8. But no, it's either a 3 or a 4. I'll have to decide that. But basically, that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of the video. And by end of the video, I mean the end of the podcast. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends as well that are fellow Pokemon fans to come watch my videos. We're starting up the grind. I'm going to start posting more content. Thank you guys a lot for the support that, ended up watching this video. Like the video, comment the video, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I'll start putting out more content and just walkthroughs, more of these Richie Thoughts episodes. I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully, if there are mistakes I made within this episode, do let me know on, if you think that maybe I should have sounded a bit better in regards of how I sounded with my thoughts. Maybe, let's say, less cussing, more constructive criticisms that makes sense, that type of stuff. And again, as long as we put it in a more constructive sense that's useful for the content creator to understand and learn from, then hey, I'll take those. But other than that, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and share with all of your friends that are fellow Pokemon fans to come watch the videos. And of course, listen to the soundtracks I posted for the last few movies since movie 18, which people love because the movie soundtracks of Pokemon are just fucking badass. But no, yeah, the support means a lot to me, guys, towards my content creation journey. So thank you guys a lot. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time on the next episode of Richie Spots and the next piece of content I will upload. So yeah, have a great day, have a great night wherever you're at in the time zone, and just remember one thing. Just remember one thing. Charizard is the best Pokemon. But no, seriousness. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.